So the State of the Union, before I get into it, I want to make a couple comments. One, I would think for just about everybody in here, the first 2 hours of today are probably worth the trip, right? So for the employee committee and the panel of pros, I mean, a huge props for those efforts. That 2 hours and 15 minutes or whatever, I mean, if you can't take away a few things from those key leaders in the company and take them back to your organization, it is just critical. So thank you for all those efforts. So I want to start and give a brief overview of a few things I'm going to talk about today. And then first, before I do that, talk about why a State of the Union. Okay, why do we do this, and why do I take the time to put these thoughts together? A State of the Union, for those of you that are new or that haven't been here the past year or two, it's really my time to try to sit back and reflect on some things that we see going on as a company, to highlight things that either were relevant in 2016 or will be for 2017. But most importantly, I think it's my time, it's important for you to hear from us that we're healthy as a company, and things that we see that are shaping or changing that I can take a few minutes and point out. So with this time, I want to share with you a few things, and I'll start with this point. When you look at the brand as a whole, you want to make sure that we're healthy because you want us reinvesting back in the brand, right? You want to make sure that we're taking the time, effort, and energy to spend to put the best and the brightest in place in our office. A lot of you know my philosophy with 1 + 1 = 3 in the business world, with partnerships and with franchise relationships. That's what a healthy franchise relationship is going to do. Take your one plus our one, and both come out better than we would have on our own. Okay, and so that's my time to do this right now. You want us innovating and thinking about the future constantly. And I'm proud to be able to stand up here and really share with you over the next few minutes why I can assure you we are doing that and show you some of those ways. It's not just about the yearly profit that you're making. A lot of you have heard me over the years. Every single one of you in here that operates a franchise has heard me on the last day of pool school asking you what's the most important thing in your business, right? And you all know the answer. It's profit. But let me take it a step further. That profit equates into something far greater than that dollar amount you made in a given year, right? Because it equates into the value of your business. And a lot of you, I think, in this room don't give your business value enough credit or enough thought. But that should be, for those of you that have been in business 2, 3, 4, 5, 9 years, one of the most valuable assets that you have is the equitable value of your business. But that equitable value is only as good as the franchisee operating it and the corporate office that's running the brand. Right? Those are the two things that make your business equitable or have true value. So keep that in mind. And I'll tie that together and make a point here. Think about it this way as you think about us operating the brand. The following companies, I want you to think about this on a franchise level. Do they have do they have a corporate office behind them thinking, forward thinking, working on the brand, thinking strategically about the value of that system? Think about it, yes or no. I get my oil changed at Jiffy Lube, right? Strong brand, strong corporate leadership, always forward thinking. It's just oil changes, right? Great Clips. It's where I get my hair cut. Always thinking about different marketing efforts, always forward thinking, moving that brand forward. It's just a haircut, right? Subway, nation's largest, world's largest franchise organization. Do you think they have a strong corporate team thinking about their brand, moving their brand forward, innovating? Blockbuster. Do you think they had their eye completely on the ball as a franchise organization? Were constantly forward thinking? Were they innovating? Were they looking ahead at the next year and 2 years and 5 years? Think about that. It's not just about what's going on right now. It's about how we as a staff and as a team are moving that brand forward for you, because that's our job. But how do we do that job, right? It's no longer about me. It's no longer about Tom. Okay, that corporate team that we have that's responsible for the brand that works in Macon, Georgia, I'd like to take a minute and make a few points about. Today with my State of the Union, I'm really going to talk about 3 or 4 groups. This is the first one. You've all heard me say it here, but over the past few days, I've even had a couple of you come and say it in my ear specifically. The team that we have at the franchising office, I would label as tremendous now. And we've heard a lot over the past 2 days about building an organization. And that's critical to think about building an organization. I want you to think about this. I had to look at our office and think about how I wanted to make a point here. And I looked at those staff members of ours that have been with us 3 full years or longer. So they're in their 4th year. Now think about this. I'm going to call this out. As I call each name out, they don't know that I'm doing this. They're going to hate me. I'd like for them to come forward, though, for a minute. Don't applause. Shelly Smith is in her 8th year with our company, with our brand. Jimmy Meese is in his 7th year with our brand. Kevin is in his 6th year. Megan Meese is in her 4th year. Rachel Hammett's in her 4th year. And Tammy Taylor is in her 4th year. I'd like for you all to help me welcome them up front. Right. Okay, thank y'all. Thank you. So think about this. If you go down the road there of looking at their jobs and their roles, I'm going to take a few minutes to make a couple of points here. Okay? From pool ops to national accounts, vendor relations, websites, call tracking, SEO work, graphic design, public relations. Each role has its own piece to support and develop the brand. And that's half our staff. You've got another several that are in the back that are between 1 and 3 years old. I just had to draw a line somewhere to make this point. Right? The team of veterans with a collective 25, 35 years of working on just our brand. And that's what's important here. Notice I have not mentioned the word franchise sales one single time. Now, nothing taken away from Jeff. I don't want his feelings to get hurt. He's a tremendous asset. But that's not what's important for the value of the brand for those of you sitting in this room. Franchise sales are important for longevity and long-term health, right? We need that momentum to continue forward to build the brand. But I want to say this a different way. I want to say what we were not 3 years ago. Just 36 months ago at this meeting, think about this. From a brand, innovation, role standpoint, we had no training center at Lake Street like we do today. We had no national accounts, 0. We had no call center, didn't exist. We had no online store supported by the brand fund. We had no brand fund. We had the old websites, the old SEO practices, the old direct mail. We had no pool op. We had no gap startup plan for those of you that have launched in the past 2.5 years. And we had no online training center. Some of these things we announced today at this very meeting. I want to tell you how important it is for me to share with you this thought. Our daily focus at our office, 90% of the role, 90% of the day is spent on the brand, innovation, forward thinking, how to make your phone ring more, how to track that data better. And we continuously are reinvesting back in that brand for that to make sure your franchise, that's what you want is these folks that are standing up here to constantly be sitting around thinking, how can we make the brand stronger and the phone ring more, produce better data, innovate. That's where pool ops came from. Do you realize that almost 25% of Kevin Nagel's job over the past 2 years has been solely dedicated to pool ops? And this wasn't part of my presentation. I'm saying this now because I've been sitting in here for a day and a half and hearing, I've heard the word pool ops 60 times, 40, 50 times. It's that important, and it came from thin air, right? Sitting in our boardroom a little over 2 years ago, it came out of a frustration for our franchise owners not having the tool that they need to operate their business more efficiently. It came from us over the past 5 years demanding that there be something that separates us from the competition, and there being nothing out there that we could use. That's where pool ops came from. That's the sort of stuff that you need to demand that our office does. And in order to do that, it is only going to come from those folks that we surround ourselves with that stood up in front of you today. And that's why I wanted to open and take a few minutes and highlight that. I genuinely will end by this part by saying I feel like that our staff as a whole want to highlight their history because they are responsible for helping the brand go from good to great. Okay? Now I want to transition into my second group. I've never formally talked about this group in front of you all. I have never really emailed or written or posted much about this group except when we meet. But I think it's valuable to take a few minutes and analyze different sections of this room and let everybody know what's going on with them. Obviously started with our corporate staff. Next I want to talk about the Elite Eight. So this is a group that was formed 4 years ago. It was formed out of a need we continued to see a few years ago. These top few folks rise to each occasion, constantly on the panel of pros, constantly calling us, wanting us to innovate, pushing us forward. And they really were, the top 5, 6, 7, 8 was pretty consistent with that. We decided to pull them out, call them the Elite Eight, form. They have their own meeting. We meet about 90 days out from each owner's meeting. We met right here in early November. And this group is constantly pushing themselves as company leaders and pushing themselves forward. And I want us to be able to take some keys and learn from them. I've got to introduce some stats to be able to make these points. 2016 versus 2015, this is the most impressive one. They had a 22% sales increase this year, 2016 numbers over 2015, 22%. They added over 20 trucks to the road. They added key employees, several of whom are in this room. And I want to talk to you about a 24-month goal that they all had, that we had as a group. And before I tell you that, I want to preface it by saying 7 out of the 8 are the same exact Elite 8 members, really from the beginning, definitely over the past 2 years. This is not new people coming in and moving out or shifting around. This is the same group of folk. In 2013, the Elite 8 did $7.9 million in revenue. 2014, they did 9.1 company revenue. 2015, they did 10.2 in company revenue. And in 2016, their largest jump yet, 12.4 million in system-wide revenue. 2017 projected at 14.3 million in system-wide revenue. How did they do that? I think this is the most important part. I want to talk to you about what we do as a group. They get together over the past 2 years specifically, and we set measurable goals. This is what I want you to take away. They are setting measurable goals as a group that they are holding each other accountable for. Measurable goals, accountability. One of those key goals was to take away the keys from the past 2 meetings that we talked about, that I talked about, from leadership and operating the business with a why first. They decided to implement those things in their goals and have a top-line revenue goal increase, but more importantly, a bottom-line net profit margin increase of 5% over a 2-year period of time as a group. They want to be held accountable. They want to meet and measure and see if they accomplish those goals. 24 months later, I was fascinated to report this. 24 months later, there's 2 things I'll point out. As a group, they grew their revenue by $3 million in that 24-month period. But more importantly, as a group, it was just shy of 5%, 4.9 something percent net profit margin increase year over year over that 2-year period of time. To be able to increase your top-line revenue, I think you all have spent a day and a half in here and understand how we do that, right? But to be able to really break your business down and suck out 5% more of net profit margin in a 24-month period of time does not come easy. Who are they? Again, I've never formally asked them to come forward or spoken about them, but I'd like for them to come up right now, if they will. Chattanooga, Columbus, Dallas, Destin, Edmond, Mesa, Ocala, and Springfield, most of whom you have seen during the panel of pros or employee committee, but this is your Elite 8 that we meet about specifically in the fall of each year. Give them a hand for their efforts. Now, I know we're just swimming pool people, but we can count. There are 10 people here, but these are 8 organizations. Okay, I want one from each organization to tell us, they don't know I'm doing this either, so let's see if they know their numbers, to tell us their 2017 gross revenue goal. We'll start with Bram. 1.9. 1.9. 1.625. See the banker? 1.25. 2.7. 1.135. 2.75, narrowly edging out Herschel for highest gross sales in 2017. You heard it here first. 1.3. Gentlemen, tremendous goals. Thank you very much. Now, I think it's important to know, again, you hear us highlight the successes through the awards, but I think it's very impressive to look at groups as a whole, right? It helps you break things down a little bit further and see as a whole different groups inside the company. But I want to take a step further and let's go to 10,000 feet, look at everybody in the room. Because it's easy to dissect and look at different pieces and sections and pull out the hot numbers, right? 2016 produced sales company-wide of $36 million. 2017, the year that we are currently already in, will produce sales of approximately $47 million. I tell you that to show you that the brand, the systems, the sales, the franchisee forward movement is significant. And it's not primarily coming from new franchise growth, obviously, at numbers like that. Let's dissect it a little bit further. That's the company as a whole. I started looking at different segments to show you some relevant numbers, to give you some comparisons, and then I didn't cut any of them out. Because look at them. Your top 5 in 2016 were up 18%. That's the tip of the top, growing 18%. Top 10, up 37%. Top 20, up 38%. Top 30, up 31%. Top 40, up 35%. Top 50, up 33%. The slide before showed you entire company-wide sales were up 33%. Significantly, our best category increase year over year by a long shot. That is no coincidence based on how I opened this presentation and started it with the folks and the brain power and the effort that we have that are constantly pushing that brand forward and pushing the systems forward. And those systems are only as good as the franchisees in this room that then take them and implement them. That is tremendously powerful, and I want to thank the room as a whole for your efforts in 2016. You should be proud. Now, to take that a step forward, most of you know that we formed a sales club about 3 years ago. The Founders Club, we broke that down by locations that are doing between $500,000 and $750,000, $750,000 and $1 million, $1 million plus. I think you just heard, standing up here in this room, that there will be a 4th category created in 2017. What will it be? The 2+ club, right? We're going to jump from 1 to 2 on that 4th level, the $2 million plus club. I stood on this stage 1 year ago, got it on video, 1 year ago, and predicted that there would be 26 locations at the Founders Club dinner tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, there will be 26 locations at the Founders Club dinner. This time next year, there will be 36 locations attending the Founders Club dinner. That means in this room right now, we're in 2017, there are 36 locations in this very room running organizations between $500,000 and $3 million in revenue. And that is tremendous. I want to end by telling you this, and this is the most important thing I'm going to share with you over these 2 days. Not that they give me much time to share anything with you, but I'll take my 10 minutes that they allotted me. I'm almost finished. We are only healthy when you are profitable. We are only satisfied when you are happy. That's straight from my brain to the paper to you right now. I'm going to say that again and look at those 2 key words that I had Rachel bold, capitalize, and underline. We are only healthy when you are profitable, because when you're profitable and you're growing, we're growing. When we're growing, I hope that I have committed to you that we are tremendously dedicated to reinvesting the value, the brand, the systems, innovation. That's why that is important. And we are only satisfied when you are happy. And those two key words are what I want you to hear from me and take away from this meeting: profitable and happy. If we can work on 2017, those two words being the key phrases that you take away and implement into your business, then I feel like that we're on a path to go from good to great. So with that in mind, then I want to thank you for being here. I'm going to turn the meeting back over, and I look forward to seeing you tonight.
So, Stewart,
Yes, sir.
you can't go far.
Okay.
You gotta come back up here. And where's Tom? Come on back up here. I know this isn't part of our script. You can come on up here. It's your stage. I'm just borrowing it. This isn't in our agenda. This isn't in our script. But here's something that's really noticeable to me. Great organizations don't get great without great leaders. And most times we don't appreciate just when we have great leaders, right? Because we tend to see the leader's fault more than we see what the leader is doing to help us be successful. And what's interesting to me is I was here that first year when none of that stuff existed. That was, I think, my first year of participating with you guys and joining the family in a way. It's been amazing to me what you have been able to accomplish under the leadership of these two gentlemen. And there's no award for that. You don't get any. I fabricated one here because I think you deserve one. And I think these, I hope I'm expressing this for all of you. This organization wouldn't be doing what it's doing without the leadership that you provide. It's awesome, it's incredible, and it's going to take you to places that you can't even imagine yet. And so it is a token of my appreciation and hopefully they'll know this or they'll recognize this. I am giving you, whether you want it or not, I'm giving this to you. This is a copy of a book that I just read, or that I just wrote. It hasn't even been published yet. It's not published for another few weeks. And I'm not giving it to you because I think you need to read it. I'm giving it to you because I want to challenge you. I think you guys have a story to tell. I think you have your journey has been incredible. The team you've put together here is amazing. And I think you need to take some time to write your own book and tell your story. Because I think the ASP story needs to be told. And so my book is only to give you the inspiration and the motivation to go do it. And it hopefully, with everyone here, is a way to simply say, thanks for being our leaders. We appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.